days later, Jesus took Peter and the brothers James and John with him. They went up on a very high mountain where they could be alone. There, in front of the disciples, Jesus was completely changed. His face was shining like the sun,
and his clothes became much whiter than any bleach on earth could make them.
All at once, Moses and Elijah were there talking with Jesus.
Moses, the great deliverer and lawgiver, and Elijah, God's premier prophet, now spoke with Jesus about the Exodus by which he would deliver his people from the bondage of sin, fulfilling the old covenant, and God's promise of salvation.
Peter and the other 2 disciples had been sound asleep. All at once they woke up and saw how glorious Jesus was. They also saw the 2 men who were with him. Moses and Elijah were about to leave when Peter said to Jesus,
"Master, it is good for us to be here. Let us make 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah."
But Peter did not know what he was talking about.
Peter's idea was not appropriate, because Jesus had a lot of work to finish in his few remaining days on earth.
While Peter was still speaking,
the shadow of a cloud passed over and covered them. From the cloud a voice said,
"This is my son, and I love him. Listen to what he says."
The same words spoken from heaven at Jesus' baptism. This was no mere man, but the very Son of God who was transfigured.
At once the disciples looked around, but they saw only Jesus.
On their way down from the mountain, Jesus warned his disciples not to tell anyone what they had seen until after the Son of Man had been raised from death.
So they kept it to themselves. But they wondered what he meant by the words, "raised from death."
They were familiar with the concept of the resurrection. The resurrection of the Son of Man, however, baffled them because Judaism at that time had no place for a suffering and dying Messiah.
The disciples asked Jesus,
"Don't the teachers of the law of Moses say that Elijah must come before the Messiah does?"
Based on the prophet Malachi's writings, Elijah must appear before the coming of the Messiah. If Jesus really was the Messiah, as they had just witnessed, why had not Elijah appeared before this? Jesus reminded them that the prophecy concerning Elijah had been fulfilled in John the Baptist. He said,
"Elijah certainly will come and get everything ready. In fact, he has already come. But the people did not recognize him and treated him just as they wanted to. They will soon make the Son of Man suffer in the same way."
Then the disciples understood that Jesus was talking to them about John the Baptist.